the point I want to make in this video, or by the end of this video, what I want you to have and have gotten out of this video is a true path to learning how to find yourself, reconnect with yourself, rediscover yourself, if you want to call it that, in order to be successful on YouTube, in order to be successful in life, in order to find happiness, joy, bliss, move through pain easier. And what I'm going to say is what most of you are not willing to do. And if you're not willing to do this, you will be continually spinning your wheels for a lifetime and never seeing the success that you desire, the freedom you desire, the income that you desire, the relationships you desire, whatever it is that you desire, the body you desire, the health you desire. Because I believe all of our difficulties, all of our struggles come down to one thing, and that's not knowing ourselves truly. And to be honest, it's not your fault, obviously. It is as an adult, but it's not your fault as a child or growing up in this society or the culture that you've grown up in. But there comes a point in time where it is your responsibility to learn who you are and to go after things you want if you truly want them. But if you don't know who you are, you might be striving for things that you don't truly want. So how do you find out who you are? You leave the environment you currently live in. Because your life right now is a combination of all the things that are not you, if you haven't been present in your life. If you look around your life, the people you hang out with, the thoughts you think, the things you do, your routines, all of that has been created by external pressure, by society, by cultural norms telling you what to do. You're living the normal life. But the normal life has most people miserable. And so that's why I want to encourage you to be different, to go against the grain. My entire life, I have gone against the grain. And it took me, even though I was going against the grain, I always went back to normal life. Against the grain, normal life. Against the grain, normal life. Slowly, I was determining who I was, but I was being held back so much because I kept getting sucked back into the normal life. And I got sucked back into the normal life because those around me were telling me not to go outside the normal life. And of course, those around me were trying to protect me because this is the right way to live your life. Go to school, go to college, get married, get a job, have babies, etc., etc., etc. But that's not the way you have to live your life. And the other thing about this is we are taking advice from people that don't know themselves. And people are judging us by someone else's standards, not their own. They're judging us by the standards they were taught, and the standards they were taught were to learn to not be themselves. So it becomes this big mess of the fake leading the fake, or the masks leading the masked, or the blind leading the blind, however you want to say it. So I would say this, and this is why I don't care what people think of me. I don't care what people think of me, for the most part, because they don't even know themselves. They don't even know what they think of themselves, and they're judging me. I will gladly take advice from someone who I believe knows themselves, but I will not take advice from the everyday, average person. And if I do listen to someone, I listen to people all the time, I filter it through my own internal beliefs and systems that I've created based on knowing who I am. And so, first step to finding who you are, to learning more about yourself, is to stop being a consumer and start being an explorer, a questioner, an experimenter, someone that asks why. Why is life this way? Do you remember when you were a kid, My daughter's 4 right now. She asks why about everything. And I love those questions because it reminds me how messed up life is. Why did you say, sorry, I'm sick? Are you sorry? You didn't do anything wrong. And I realized, yes, I don't need to say, I'm sorry you were sick, because it's not something I have done wrong. I feel bad that my daughter is sick and I will try to make her feel better, but I don't need to say, I'm sorry. It's not my fault she's sick. I don't need to apologize for anything. The language we use, the things we do in everyday life, we must question. Question, why are things the way they are? Because the way things are leads to people being suicidal, leads to people being depressed, leads to people pretending to be things they're not. So question everything. Why do I feel this way? Why do I think this way? Why does society work this way? Is there a better way? Should I think this way? Why do I have this emotion? Is this emotion mine? Or can I feel this emotion? Should I feel this emotion? And it's not about judging yourself. It's about observing yourself, observing your life. Because everything you have in your life is a result of not being yourself if you haven't worked on yourself, right? And so ask yourself every single step of the day, do I like this? Why did I respond that way? Do I want to be a person that responds that way? Who do I want to be? How do I need to change to be that type of person that I want to be? There's so many questions that go unanswered or that don't even get questioned in our lives. And we just take things for face value. And any video I produce on my channel, I don't want you to take it for face value. I want you to ask yourself, is this the best way for me to proceed? Should I do it differently? I remember I was talking with someone the other day in a coaching call, and they were saying, I was looking at their channel and I was like, it's really interesting. You had such a feminine energy vibe that was really, I would resonate with your niche. And now all of a sudden you've got yellow and red, and your niche feels very, manufactured, like you're trying to get attention, or it feels very masculine, very heavy, very bold, and your channel is more about being light and peaceful. And she was like, well, I did that because you said to do that. She's like, you said to use bold colors. And the thing is, we have to be very careful about what we listen to and filter it through our own system. What I was trying to say with that video is your thumbnails need contrast. So if she had a pink background, don't wear a pink shirt. You'll become camouflaged, right? My point was there should be contrast. Bold colors is a way to create contrast, but it's not the only way. So when you listen to things, you need to think, is this the best answer for me? There's lots of advice out there on how you should live your life. And you have to ask yourself, does that work with my life, with my season of life? And not just take things for face value. And that's a big part of knowing yourself. Because if you're like, oh, people have morning routines where they get up at 4 a.m. and they're successful. Well, if I start waking up at 4 a.m., I'm going to be successful. No. If you're a mom with 3 kids and you wake up at 4 a.m. after going to bed at 11 o'clock at night, staying up all night with children, you're not going to be successful. You're going to be exhausted. You're probably going to wear yourself out and knock yourself out and then not even be there for your family. So we can't, and I know that's maybe an extreme example, but that's the problem. We aren't questioning things. We aren't thinking with our brains. We're thinking with what society is telling us to think with, and that is no way to live your life. And so here's my advice, an option for you. Instead of just consuming life, question life. Try different things. So step 1 of my piece of advice on how to get to know yourself, how to live your dream life, how to find your purpose, how to learn who you are, is to question everything. Everything. Question your thoughts, question your dreams, question your wants, question the things you buy, question the grocery stores you go to, question the car you drive, question the road you take, question the school your kids go to, question what you say to your kids, question what your kids say to you, question everything, analyze it, think about it, become activated, not numb. Become activated. Activate yourself. That is so key into learning who you are and what you want in this life. Another thing I would say is do things differently, which by questioning things, you will start to do things differently as a byproduct of that. But do things differently. What do I mean? If you spend your day scrolling on TikTok, Instagram, Netflix, whatever you spend your day doing, remove those things. Just try removing those things. I don't scroll Instagram. I barely watch YouTube videos. I watch the YouTube videos of my clients. I watch the YouTube channels of the people that I'm inspired by that lift me up. I do not just doom scroll or doom watch or whatever you want to call YouTube videos. But I did it the other day, actually, because I wanted to see what you guys feel like. Because I know there's conflicting information out there. One YouTuber says do this, one YouTuber says that. So I watched a bunch of different channels. And do you know how I felt after I did that? Like you. Completely confused, completely lost. And I teach YouTube. That is my life right now, right? I know how to grow channels on YouTube. I work with clients every day. We're growing their channels. But after watching lots of random videos, I was questioning myself. I was wondering, like, can I do this? Wow, there's so much different information out there I didn't even realize. But I can do this. And you can do your life. You just need to stop listening to all the advice about how to do your life and do your life with you, with your passions, with your desires, with what you want. So the second step I would say is remove all the things that are telling you how to live your life. Remove them from you, especially if they make you feel bad. And not just inanimate objects like watching TV, but people. Remove people from your life only temporarily, even if it's just for like 5 days. Remove those people from your life so that you no longer hear their voice in your head. You start to hear your voice in your head, right? Or you give yourself enough time, enough silence away from all these distractions so that you can hear maybe their voices that are in your head and realize that those voices in your head are actually those people putting you down. And it's not you lifting yourself up. I want to tell you something that I did that I found very useful for really starting to learn who I was. And about 3 summers ago, I was feeling completely lost. And I just started writing. Every day I wrote for 3 hours. 3 hours. This is what I'm talking about. Be relentless in learning about yourself. 3 hours a day when my daughter was napping, I would write. As long as I had, as long as she slept, I would write. What was I writing? Now this is taking journaling to the next level, because a lot of people say journaling helps you find yourself. It does, but it doesn't for most people, because most people journal for 10 minutes before bed about their day. I'm talking about going deep with journaling. I'm talking about you writing and forcing yourself to write every thought that's coming in your head and question every thought that's coming in your head. And I actually posed a question to myself and got an answer from myself, right? But eventually I noticed, and I could get that. I printed it out. I have like I think it was 500 pages that I wrote one summer. Single spaced, 11-point font, 500 pages of just finding myself. And when you are brave enough to ask questions, you're brave enough to receive answers. And the thing is, the wonderful thing about writing is that I can go back and read that and I can see how I evolved, how I started off feeling so lost, and how I started to think less of myself. And then I started to feel more positive, and I started to feel more proud, and I started to feel more strong, and how the text, the words went from lost to found very fast, because I was asking myself, what do I want? Like really asking. And being deliberate enough and relentless enough to find out, to wait it out. You don't find out who you are journaling for 10 minutes every night. You find out who you are if you sit there for 3 hours and write until you have nothing to write and you still keep writing. That's when you get to those deeper thoughts, those scary thoughts, those fears, what it really means. And you learn so much about yourself. So that's another piece of advice I think that works really well if you're a writer. Maybe you can do this with speaking or recording yourself or however you want to do it. But I would say we often think that we're going to find our solutions so quickly, but we actually have to do the hard work to find the solutions, to find out who we are. And most people aren't willing to do that hard work because that work is hard. Because when you go into those depths of your soul and the depths of your fears and the depths of what you think and what you don't think and your anger and all of that stuff, it's scary. And it is requiring you to walk through the fire and burn and rise up new again, to be reborn into a new version of yourself. It is hard. It is hard. But you know what I think is harder? Spending an entire lifetime living it for someone else who doesn't even know themselves. For living it for a society who has other purpose for your life than you have. So that's another piece of advice. The other piece of advice is this. I work with people every day, all day, on growing their YouTube channel. And it is a lovely job. I love what I do. I really, truly love what I do. But it's also a painful job. Because you can't pull people out from behind the curtain. You can't pull the mask off for them. It is so hard to see so much potential in people and have to wait for them to see that potential themselves. I can tell them, I can show them, I can express how amazing they are. I can express people will pay you for this service. People will pay you to learn from you. You are strong. You are intelligent. You are amazing. You have something to offer this world. You have so much worth. You wouldn't be here if you didn't. And the only way to find that worth, you are worthy no matter what, but to find it for yourself, to own it for yourself, to own who you are, is to take action. So the next step, once you remove things from your life so you can start hearing your thoughts, is to take action, to do things differently. That is a part of action. Removing things is action. It is taking action. But the next bigger action to do is to, once you discover those thoughts, the ones that you think, I don't like this, I actually like this, remove the thing you don't like and start doing the thing you like. And that requires a lot of growth, because that usually requires saying no to things or saying yes to things that are scary. But that, every time you do that, you get stronger. You might feel weaker in that moment, but you get stronger on the other side because you're getting closer to who you are. And here's the thing. When you show up to YouTube, when you show up to life, when you show up to your relationships, to whatever, your job, your children, the world, as you are so powerful. You are so freaking powerful. But the world doesn't want you to know that. The world doesn't want you to know that because the world wants to keep you small. Because if you stay small, you follow the rules, you do what you're supposed to do. You don't shake things up, you don't change things. But I'm here to tell you, you're not meant to stay small. You are not meant to stay small. My daughter the other day was eating watermelon. And she was like, if I eat this watermelon, if I eat this seed, will it grow in my belly? And I'd explain to her, no, it won't, because it's not the environment for it. But then she was also saying, Aiti, which is Finnish for mom, this small seed makes this big watermelon? I said, yeah. I was like, there's a lot of small things that can make huge impact in the world. There's a lot of small things that are underestimated. You are underestimating your value. You are underestimating what you can achieve. I know you can achieve more. I know it with every cell of my being. If you are willing to achieve more, you have to be willing. You have to be willing to step away from what you've been doing and try something different. And if you need any kind of push for that, look at the normal life. Really look at it. People are miserable. They might look pretty and happy on Instagram and TikTok and all that. They are miserable. And you know it because you are miserable. I was miserable 3 years ago. I was absolutely, really, really miserable. And that's why I was like, I have to do something different. So I started writing. Writing is something I love to do. And I started writing and writing and writing and writing and writing. And I figured out who I was. And I figured out what I wanted. I figured out what I wanted to do. And you are capable of that too. I listen to so many people and they're telling me, I say this, but people don't believe me. I know this works. I have evidence that this works, but people don't believe me. Okay, who cares if they don't believe you? Because what you do can help people that do believe you, that do believe in your services, that do believe in who you are, that do trust you. Because you will speak your wisdom and people will get results. And those people will grow because they will tell other people, and it will grow, right? The people that don't believe you, screw them, right? The people that don't think I can help them with YouTube, that's fine. Go find someone else that can. I know I can help people grow on YouTube, and I do every single day, right? I have the evidence in my life. And that's the problem with trying to find yourself. Or not the problem, but one of the biggest difficulties is trust. You have to have trust in yourself. And it's very hard to have trust in yourself when you're doing something different. And everyone around you is asking you, why are you doing something different? What's wrong with what you have in life? Why do you need something different? I remember when I was going for a second degree in school, and my mom was like, was the first degree not good enough? You know? And it wasn't that at all. The first degree was amazing, but I wanted to educate myself further. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to grow. You see, that's the thing. When you want to do something, people are going to try to stop you, to try to tell you, like, that you're doing something wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. You're doing everything right. It's just not what everyone's used to seeing you do. And so the point that I want to make is that it's very difficult because we don't know how to trust ourselves. But we need to trust ourselves because it's the only thing we have. If you don't have trust in yourself, you become a sheep. You follow the herd and you don't question everything. If everyone started doing something awful, like dumping oil in the rivers, and everyone was doing it, and you're like, but this is not right. This is going to kill all the fish. Like, why would we do this? But everyone's like, no, whoever said we should, and everyone starts doing it, and you're like, okay, well, I guess I should do it. No, don't. Trust yourself. Trust that you know that is wrong and that is not good, and you stand up for it. I know that's an extreme example, but like, smaller example would be, you're around a bunch of smokers, and you're like realizing you went to a health visit and you realized, I really should stop smoking. I'm going to stop smoking. But no, none of your smoker friends want you to stop smoking, because if you stop smoking, you're going to stop coming out for breaks from work. You're not going to stop hanging out with them. You're going to be, you're going to separate yourself from them when they're smoking because you want to be around smoke. You don't want to be reminded of smoking, and they're afraid they're going to lose you. But sometimes you have to be willing to give up things in order to do things that are better for you, that are better for your life. And like I said, you have to give up people sometimes. You have to give up things you thought brought you joy when they don't. And that's why I think you should question everything. Because things that bring you joy might not actually bring you joy. They might actually make you feel awful. Like, I love pastries. Oh my goodness. I don't eat cookies, but I love bulla, which is a Finnish dessert. I love, really good breads, muffins. I love all that stuff. Refined sugars, give it to me. Like, I just love a good pastry. Pastries hate my body. They hate my body. Not because they give me weight or anything like that, but because I get rashes all over my body. I itch like crazy when I have pastries, but I love pastries. But I had to be willing to give up that love to have better health, to not feel itchy, to not be in pain. So oftentimes, even though we think we love something, we think it brings us joy, the result is not joyous. The result adds up and the result becomes painful. So you have to figure out in life what is actually truly bringing you joy or causing you pain. And there's a lot of things like that in life that we do that we think are bringing us joy, but are actually causing us pain. Like, maybe we feel like scrolling on Instagram is fun, it allows us to relax. But I'll tell you this, I used to scroll on Instagram, not that much. I'm not really a big social media person, but I did. There was a time where I was just home with really young children, and I would scroll at Instagram looking for like motivation and stuff, but I'd also see other things along the way, because it's a feed that feeds you. You don't choose what you see, right? You don't get to predict, you don't get to determine what you see. It's kind of like it chooses what you see. And so I found that it became a habit, one, of looking, as soon as I opened my phone, I would go to Instagram. But then two, I noticed I wasn't as happy. And so I took away social stuff. I just took away Instagram from my phone entirely. And within a day, I felt better. So something that you think might be bringing you joy could actually be causing you pain. And that's why I say, stop consuming so much and start like experimenting, questioning, looking at things. Start to become like an investigator of your life and understand really what you want. And I know I'm hitting this same like thought many ways, but the point is this: there are ways to find your purpose, to determine who you are, to thrive on YouTube. But you can't thrive on YouTube if you don't know who you are. You really can't. Because if I go to a channel and I listen to someone and they're talking about something, I can tell that they don't feel what they're talking about. They're not passionate about it. They're maybe talking about it because they think this is going to get them money. This is going to make them rich. And so they're just being a parrot and telling everything that someone else told them. But if I find a channel where someone is passionate, where they are talking about, they don't even have to be passionate, but they're educated, they're speaking well about their topic, they stand with confidence, they're not like wavering, they're not like, there's no, I'm an energy person, there's no like heavy energy. It's all light energy. It's not light as in bright lights, but light as in weight. Like the energy that's coming through is positive, it's light, it's knowledge, it's wisdom, it's sharing, it's caring. Right? If it's coming through and it's like, what can I get from you? Like, how can I make money from you? Then it's a turnoff. And even if they're not saying, I'm making this to make money, you can feel it, right? You can feel it in the videos. And in that moment, I think anyone that is, now this is going to have, I know this is going to get some people pissy. I think anyone that is doing something just to make the money doesn't know themselves. Because when you know yourself and you get to live a life where you are aligned with who you are, that is the wealthiest you will ever be. That is the richest of the rich you could ever be. Because life happens easier. Life becomes magical when you step into who you are. Because you no longer spend time with people you don't want to spend time with. You no longer do things you don't want to do. You no longer do things to be polite. You no longer are nice, but you are kind. And when you become that person, you are so happy that you want everyone else to feel this way. Because you want people to hang out with. Because you don't want to hang out with people that are fake. You want to hang out with people that feel this way. Because then you guys can go higher, right? And so you want to make people feel better. And so your primary goal then, once you are aligned with who you are and what you want in life and what your purpose is, you want to give that feeling, that experience, that helpful advice to others because you care. Because you care about humanity and because you want people to be happier. You want the world to be happier because you know if the world is happier, everything works better. And that's how I feel. I want to share everything I possibly can with you so that you can succeed, so that you can live a happier life, so that the world becomes a happier place, so that people treat people better, so that, for greedy reasons, my children grow up in a world better than the world I grew up in. So my girls do not have to fear being raped. So my girls do not have to fear being treated less than because they are a woman. Like, I want people to live in a world where everybody is equal, no matter your skin color, no matter your gender, no matter whatever you believe. I want to live in a world, I want my children to live in a world where people know themselves. Because when you know yourself, you don't judge others, right? And when you've done the work to get to the other side of knowing yourself, and you no longer live in the world where you have all these masks on, you know how hard it is to get there. You know what you had to go through to get there. And so when you see someone that is in that place, that is in pain, that is living fake, that is buying material things to make them look good, is saying things to make them look good, is showing off whatever they're doing. Or maybe they're making themselves so small and it look pitiful. You don't judge those people because you know they're on the journey. And the only thing you want to do is help them, right? You don't want to make money off of them. You want to help them because you know, and here's the biggest thing, is that if you help people, truly help people with your heart, with your passion, with all that you've come through to get to where you are, if you help people from that place, money will follow. Because everything in life works out better when you are you. When you do you, life works better. Believe me, I didn't do me for 30-something years. And in my 40s, I truly did me. I would say at around 43, I definitely started speaking my mind. I cut people out of my life that weren't healthy. I cut people out of my life that weren't healthy for me or my family. And every time I was willing to do something hard, it paid off. It paid off so much. I am living my dream life. And here's the thing, I'm not afraid it's going to disappear. If I ever had something in my past that was good, I was so afraid it was going to disappear because I was so used to having bad things happen to me. I was so used to that. I was so used to bad things happening, bad things, good things, bad things, bad things, bad things, bad things, good thing, bad thing, right after, right? Oh, this is good, but I don't want to enjoy it too much. I don't want to be too grateful for it because it's going to disappear. I almost want to act like it's not even here. No, I am grateful for my life right now. And I am not afraid it's going to disappear because every day I'm getting stronger and stronger in who I am. And every day that I get stronger in who I am helps you to pull you this way. It helps you to become stronger because you see an everyday woman with 3 children living in a foreign country, doing her best life, living her best life because I put in the work, right? And if you're willing to do that work, if you're willing to say no to people, if you're willing to question people, like what is really going to happen? Let's say someone says something rude to you and you bite your tongue. You're like, I'm going to be the bigger person. Yes, you can bite your tongue and be the bigger person. Or you can say, I completely disagree with what you just said, but thank you for your thoughts, right? It's not creating a fight, but it's letting that person know that you crossed a line with me and you're not allowed to do that, right? Or you walk away from that person, you don't say anything, but you go the next day or you next whatever minute and you tell yourself, I'm not going to talk to that person again. I'm not going to be entangled with them anymore. I'm going to let that relationship go. I don't need to associate with them. Of course, I do think it's better if you make that clear, if you actually express it to someone. But if you're not at that level, you do what you need to do, right? And as you get stronger, then you will be able to then say to people, I completely disagree with you, but thank you for your opinion, but that's not my opinion on this matter. So we just need to agree to disagree and leave it at that. You don't need to be rude. You don't need to be whatever. You just need to stand up for yourself. And little by little, the more you do that, the more easier it becomes to do that. And the easier it becomes to, okay, here's the other thing. When you realize and experience what it's like to stand up for yourself, to live aligned, to know what you want, you never, ever, ever want to go back to that old person, the way you were before, the littler you, the smaller person, the one stuck in ego, the one worried about what everyone thinks about them. You don't ever want to go there because that is a miserable life. And you've touched the sweetness, the joy, the passion, the power of standing in who you are. So you won't want to go back to that. And so my other piece of advice to you would be to take, even if they seem tiny, steps forward where you say no, where you say, I don't want that. Actually, this isn't good. This is not the way I wanted it. You know, and you start to like really state how you feel. And then you start to become that person. The more and more you state how you feel and what you want in life. And so that's why I say it was bad advice for me to say, just start to the majority of the population. because the majority of the population needs to do the inner work before they can just start expressing themselves on YouTube. Yes, you will find yourself on YouTube and you will have to overcome what it's like to talk to a camera and all of those things. But those things are just skills. This inner work is just the best thing you can do for your life. And I know the reason I said to get on YouTube was to start to be able to stand up for yourself, to be able to say, I don't care what you think, I'm going to go on YouTube. So in that case, if you're using YouTube as a tool to find yourself, to stand in your strength, by golly, use it for that. It is great for that. And no matter what, no matter how much you know yourself, even when you get on YouTube, you're still going to be pushed. And that's a good thing. And everything in life that pushes you, that challenges you, that makes you question things, that makes you question who you are, what you stand for, is a good thing. So notice that, pay attention to that, because that will fuel your future success. So I know this was a lot. I hope you find it helpful, but I want to end with this. I have not talked to a single person on all of my coaching calls, and I've had a lot of them, from my one-off calls to my people in my program. Not one person did I ever think had nothing to give. Did I ever think they won't make it? Did I ever think didn't have potential in them? Every single one of you watching this video has so much potential, so much more potential than you realize. But you're letting the world, you're letting life hold you back. Life doesn't want you to hold back. Do you think the dandelions here, the dandelions in Finland grow to as tall as my toddler, like a meter high, yardstick high. And it's insane. Do you think that dandelion is like worried about what the other dandelions think? Heck no. That dandelion's like, it's sunshine 24/7 here in Finland in the summer. I'm going to grow, 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 grow. This is my moment to shine, right? This is my moment to shine. This is your moment to shine. No more wasting your life. That stops now. Seriously. Stop that now. If you have to watch this video 5,000 times, or just this part of the video, stop wasting your life. Because those people that you're wasting your life for, trying to impress them, they don't even know who they are. They're just telling you, they're just parroting back to you what they were told, what they're supposed to do, and they're miserable. Do not let miserable people make your life miserable. Your life is meant to be beautiful. It's meant to share. It's meant to expand. It's meant to help other people. And when you help other people, when you help yourself, and then you help other people, the world becomes a better place. And we all want to live in a better world, don't we? It is your duty as a human to become better, to strive for a better version of yourself. Yes, we are all lovely as we are, but no, we are not, if we do not know ourselves. Because we are not beautiful as we are, because we are not ourselves. We are some fake version of ourselves. Stop being fake. Be you. Stop listening to what everyone else wants you to be. Be you. You will know what you want if you stop listening to everyone else. Shut out the noise. Shut out the noise. All of that junk food that is being fed to you, shut it out. And there are people that are living their life, that are true to themselves, that do know themselves, or are working on who they are every single day. Those people are magnetic. Pay attention to them. Read their books. Watch their speeches. Be inspired by them. Use those people to fuel your future. Don't use all the everyday normal people who are miserable to fuel your future. You won't get very far. You will stay exactly where you are. And that's more scary to me than trying to determine who you are, is staying where you are. That's horrible and scary and will lead to a life of regrets. You can do amazing things in this life, and you will, because you are not going to settle anymore. You are not going to settle for just normal life. You are going to do things differently. You're going to learn who you are. You're going to figure out how to find yourself. And when you find yourself, you will never look back, because it will be too painful to ever go back to being the person that was not your true self. I promise you, the work is worth it. 100%. And if I could hug you right now and tell you everything's going to be okay, I would, because it is going to be okay. If you do this work, if you put in the effort to really learn who you are, journal, get quiet, question everything, and be inspired by people that are living their lives the best that they can, you will never look back. And the world will change for the better. And I will be so grateful if you help me to change the world for the better. We need more people on this side. We need more people being true to who they are. Because if we start a revolution of movement, of people really truly learning who they are and going after what they want, the world will be unrecognizable very soon, in a good way. I know this was serious. I really appreciate you all. I really appreciate you watching this channel. I hope this has a positive impact on you. I don't want to make you feel like I'm yelling at you or putting you down, but I do want to shake you up and show you what's possible. And you can live the dream of your life, as cliche as it sounds. You can, but it's going to take work to get there. But it's better work than the work you're doing to stay normal. So go be weird, be different, and enjoy life more. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Until next time, bye for now.